You feel stuck? Do you feel maybe you're not connecting with people on the level that you want to connect? Do you maybe feel like you're not living your authentic life as your authentic self? If so, this conversation is going to resonate with you as Eric Daniels walks through the journey that he's been on and how he's transformed from being kind of the average real estate agent that we all know to being his authentic self and how that's helped him grow his business even after taking his database from 6,600 people down to 117 and having the best year ever. Just got back from 6 weeks with his family on vacation, had more business while he was gone that more than 3x covered the cost of his trip. I promise you, this is going to be a treat. I'm so excited to have you watch this episode of the Loan Officer Mastermind. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the LO Mastermind. I am Todd Bookspan, the founder of Win by Noon, and I am very, very excited for today's show and for our guest. Here we are, we're heading into the second half of 2026. This is our first show of the second half. I am super, super excited for those of you who are live and also for those of you who are either listening to us out in podcast land on your favorite podcast platform or on the Win by Noon YouTube channel. But as always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Deborah Byrd, founder of Plug and Play. How are you?
I am fantastic. I love 4th of July. It's July 4th officially tomorrow, so I'm excited to see the fireworks and I'm pumped about today's call. Texas is representing today, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Heck
go.
yeah.
I won't mention the Dallas Cowboys, but okay. And Dave, what's up, Dave?
I am super pumped. From what I know of Eric, he is someone who has figured out how to win in life and work by being his most authentic self, something that I really admire in people. And I just can't wait to learn more about Eric and mastermind with everybody. It is not just the 4th of July, it is the 250th 4th of July. My wife got everybody in the family this little bracelet, so we're going to be a little gang this weekend. We're going to have anybody that's in Lake Oswego. Our house is along the parade, so stop by, see the Savages. We're right on the corner of Iron Mountain in Chandler. I've been told that's where the parade starts. So any locals, come say hi. Let's go.
I love that. I love that. So Eric Daniels is our guest today, and I've known Eric now for maybe 5, 6 years. We were introduced by a good friend, Scott Gibson, who we've had on the show before, who is a coach and brought together a little mastermind in person, which is one of the favorite things that, Dave and I have done over the years, as well as Deborah. I was fortunate enough to get to meet Eric in person, and then we were in a mastermind group together for, gosh, a few years, 90 minutes every Thursday together, a small group of people really exchanging stories about growing businesses, growing lives, and had the opportunity to hang out with Eric a couple of times since when I've gone to Texas. He is from Fort Worth, Texas, but I don't think you're going to find too many people who are going to walk you through an authentic journey. He is owner of a real estate company called Rethink Home. Hopefully, I got that right, Eric, in Fort Worth, Texas. Super good human. Just got back from 6 weeks unplugged with his full family. He's got 3 kids and a beautiful wife. And I'm just super pumped. Welcome, Eric Daniels.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for the stage here for not only for, the people that your target audience generally has been lenders, but I'm reaching out to realtors. I'm reaching out to absolutely anybody that's a business owner or just wants good relationships. And Todd, you're a great example of that over the years. Thank you.
Well,
Hey, hey,
it's funny. I don't want
hey,
Deborah to know this, but I actually, when you and I had lunch the first time, we were at, you dragged me to the Dallas Cowboys, some Dallas Cowboys place, like a golf club or something. And there's
Yeah.
actually photo proof of me putting on a Dallas Cowboys hat, which,
I
you know,
remember that.
is one of my most embarrassing moments in life, but is I was with you and it was therefore made it an amazing opportunity in my life.
hey, Eric, how old are your kids, real quick?
I've
Yes.
got I've got 20, 18, and 12.
Nice. All right. Got the
Yeah.
spectrum covered.
And,
Yeah,
and I,
I do. And it's really important to understand, we always talk about why, right? You guys are specialized in the whole why bit. You know, getting my son, I've got 2 girls and my son who's sandwiched between them. Getting him to understand what authenticity looks like has been a journey as well. And he's been following me just, in the wings, watching what dad does. And I realized it about 2.5 years ago. He was reclusive and I sat down with him and he literally he became the person in tow while I made this change in my business and life with all the risk out there just exposed, and he got to see the whole bit. So he's now a benefit of part of this effort too. So it's not just business owners.
So when you say this change in business and life, because I certainly have my perception of the Eric Daniels that I met years ago and, the evolution to who you are today, how would you describe yourself before and then, what that journey looked like?
And I'll, oh God, it's so vulnerable to sit here. No, listen, let me ask you, Todd, to ask a question with a question. What was the perception before? What did it look like before? I was successful in real estate. I mean, I sold homes, but what did it look like to you?
You know what? I always had huge respect for you. And I think I knew you because I knew who you were from the conversations we had. But I think from the outside, you looked like most other real estate agents. You had the suit, you had the haircut, you had a real estate agent image, if you wanted to call that an average, versus the guy that's got shaved head now, few tats and a motorcycle behind him.
Yeah, that's absolute truth. I cared too much what other people thought. That's what that was. And I wasn't living for me. I was worried about where the deal was going to come from. I was curious if my likes in life were going to polarize the other person from transacting with me. All of these things mattered to the point where it debilitated me into what I was doing. And then I started venturing out and getting into masterminds. And the weird thing is, in real estate, you can be successful and not completely know yourself. You could make, $500,000 doing that, but the satisfaction level was zero. And it kind of started with paid leads for me in my career about 12 years ago. I was kind of give you here, I'm going to set the stage for you. So I'm prior military. I was 7 years Air Force. I was an aircraft mechanic, and I went to school in that time period to get a job right after 9/11 at Lockheed designing airplanes. So I designed airplanes. I was aerospace for 20 years. I got to where I was management, and it was very not me. Corporate America was not me. I was fitting, like, again, this is kind of the theme here. I was kind of wedging myself into this shoe that just didn't fit. Everything suffered because of it. I was angry. I was disgruntled. I couldn't quite get ahead to the level that I knew that was inside of me. So after I quit, I literally cold turkeyed aerospace and went into real estate 12 years ago. And in that space, I've progressed and to the point where I created a real estate brokerage with a very select few people that could probably tolerate me. And the amount of gas in the room that I've got is probably a lot. And, I like putting my foot in the gas quite a bit. But when you care too much what other people think, it steers you. And I wanted to stop and think about what are the things in my life, and this is what I want you guys to really hone in on. What are the things in my life that I have authenticity that I actually love? I'll give you a great example. I just hired a guy this month. His name's Josh. He was a Green Beret Apache pilot.
Damn.
20-year. This guy, and the only reason he came on is because the authenticity piece, just to be a heads up. So he came on, we got him set up. He's the guy that he says, hey, I want to be in real estate. I want to make the transition. And 30 days later, he's got his license and ready to go. He's that guy. So he sits down with me and he's like, I'm not the traditional realtor. I'm like, fantastic, high five, let's go. But he's the one that I sat down with just this week and said, give me 5 things that you just love in life. And he came up with baking. This burly, bearded, giant piece of a man comes to me and says, I just love baking. I'm like, do you know how amazing this is going to be on video for everybody to see this? And these are the questions that you've got to ask about yourself. And for years, I suppressed motorcycles. For years, I suppressed the idea of me smoking cigars. For years, I gave up the idea of, I can't delete a database lead. That's the wrong thing to do. The more database leads you have is the better. Mortgage lenders, that is not true. In my experience, I'll give you my story on that. 6,600 people were in my database 2 years ago. Ask me how many of those people I contacted religiously. None. So what does it hurt to go through your database and go, I would like to resonate with these folks? I went from 6,600 to 117 people. I've never made more money than I make today.
So tell me about that. How did you do that? Like, what does that look like how did you go from 6,600 to 117? Was that a year-long expedition, a 3-month expedition?
That was a long play. So first off is understanding what you love in life and going all in with it. So what I did, instead of seeking out things and going to those things that other people were doing that I thought were cool, I just created my own spaces. So in the case of Instagram, I've got like 5 or 6 handles that I religiously go on every single day and pump data to because it's stuff I freaking love. One is Ash to Ash Cigar Social. I invite people to this garage right here. There's a chair ring that you don't see right now with a giant fan that I invite people over to just smoke cigars. Male, female, doesn't matter. We just have an inclusive space of not talking about work. There's not one thing in here that says Rethink Home on it. And when you sit in this space and you resonate with people at a level where you're out there cooking pancakes, smoking cigars, having port, whatever it is that you're doing, these people break down and just start talking about things they like. They then can have a trust layer that they've never experienced before. I've made more business transactions in that circle in the past 6 months than I can even remotely, like, I can't tell you if I would have even thought about the connections that were made with the Venn diagram of people that we know if we wouldn't have had that. Motorcycles. Look, not everybody loves them. They're unsafe. My wife probably has a little bit of an issue with them, but she knew that was one of my passions. Now there's 5 motorcycles in here right now, by the way. And going in with that was 2 years ago. I'm like, I need to find people that I can actually ride with safely. That, you know, I've got 3 kids. I got to be aware of that. But I also want to create relationships in that space. Because here's the weird part is if we take the old Eric and go, if you were to put Eric into motorcycles, it would look like you being a poser. And, you know, all of the things, because you're making such a drastic change. But if you just immerse yourself in the experience of what the things that you like, naturally things occur. And yeah, it was a 2-year play, Todd. It was a long play. But ultimately, when I sat down and thought about the things that I wanted to go in with, dude, do you know the average Harley rider right now? Do you know what their income level is? Think about that. And I'm not saying I ride because they're high income earners. I'm just telling you, like, what you have a preconceived notion about may not be true. Your belief system might want to get checked there because I've done $1 million deals with these guys. And it's not because some superficial thing or I'm putting marketing out or no, these are actual relationships that I live life with these people. And that's what I want to get through to everybody here today, because you guys have had some amazing guests, especially as of recent. Sitting inside of that space and learning who the people that you actually resonate with is why the 117 people in my database matter to me, because I can control that. I want to be a part of their lives. They see me, they know me, they know that it's not a transaction. Here's the other thing is whenever I'm inside of real estate with these people and they go to buy a house, their first thing they hear from me is, you're going to buy this house, but I'm never going to sell your house. Because on the back end, my whole thing is generational wealth. I'm going to come to you and explore what the paths look like first for you to keep that house for as long as you can. I'm going to provide you a Google Drive with all the information that I personally invest in homes. You can have it. I never want to sell this thing. And they think initially they're like, oh, you're shooting yourself in the foot by saying that. No. You know how many people they know? You know how many people they refer to me? Those 117 people are thousands of people. You with me?
Real quick, do you know who Bob Bodine is?
I don't.
The author of Power of Who. Hearing you tell your story, I had a deja vu. He's got a book called The Power of Who. He's in Plano, Texas. He's been on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine, as known as one of the most influential and powerful people in sports that you've
Wasn't he
never.
Deion's agent at one point?
Was that?
Wasn't he like Deion Sanders, his agent, or helped get
Yeah,
him connected?
yeah. Actually, when Dion wanted to get into coaching, he flew out and spent a day with Bob, and Bob helped him get his first coaching gig. And then Bob is the one that brought him into Colorado. He's on the board of directors for the Texas Rangers. He's placed the commissioner of baseball, commissioner of the Olympics. I mean, who's who? And his story goes, his dad was a famous recruiter. He had flown millions of miles. There were thousands of people that he knew, they were acquaintances. but he decided that he wanted to really merge his business into his passion of sports. And he's like, all I want to do is help them. And then he weeded his database down to his who. And I can't remember the exact number. I want to say like 97 people. And, he took his database from thousands to 100-ish, and his dreams came true. And it's, all around being your authentic self. There's riches and niches. I also had a little bit of deja vu in hearing you talk with Sean Herrera, who's someone that we've interviewed several times. He's actually up 60% in production year to date this year. He did like 140 million last year, and he's on track to do, I think, about 250 million this year. And he came to this conclusion, like, my authentic self, I really connect with first responders and military. And I doubt if there's too many mortgage professionals that has done loans for more SEALs, more military folks, and more first responders than Sean, because there's riches and niches. So I hope everybody is getting that signal that you can win in life and business, and you can have a smaller database. You can be your authentic self, and you can win radically. So anyways, I love the lessons we're getting from you, Jeff, or excuse me, Eric.
Yeah, I'll go by Jeff. It's fine. Dave, perfect. Well said, man. And by the way, I need to know Sean, by the way.
Yeah, you do need to know Sean. You guys would get along great.
I'm chomping at the bit to go find this guy right now. All right. So here's one thing that I checked myself early, because we were a part of a group called Scale Mastermind. Todd, myself, and some other top agents throughout the.
That's where I went to high school, for all those HB people out there. The parade in Huntington Beach.
Bro, did you even go to school? Does that count? Did you go to class? I said, did you even go to class?
Me?
Yeah.
I graduated, but I did miss a lot of class. Anybody
I five C students.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I recognized early was that a lot of people are going to push back on you and say you can't scale that. And forgive me, I call BS on that, because what happens is when you resonate with a group of folks at a level that you've not experienced before, some ride or dies, as we call them, Deborah, we've got people that emulate what you're doing with their own authenticity. And if you create, let's say, like I created a brokerage, if I hire a select few, that's going to monopolize greatly on the people that we're talking about. For instance, we were talking about Sean with military first responders. That's one of our fingers of business. And we just got back from at the base the other day. We were out speaking to troops, and we showed up and we literally said this. And every realtor out there, I need you to go do this with your lender, by the way. I want you to show up to the base that is in your city. I want you to go in and find some supervisor that says, hey, we want you to show you what wealth looks like for successful people, because success leaves clues, breadcrumbs, right? So you guys show up and just talk to the E1 to E5 ranks. Do not sell them on anything. Show up and just give them everything you got. There's a book called The Go-Giver back in the day by Bob Burg that changed my life. And if you haven't read that, go read it. It's top 3 for me. And oh God, there's so many books I want to tell you, but I'm not going to. That's the only one I'm going to drop today. So show up, give them a whole bunch of nuggets on what wealth looks like, so they can steer themselves with great decisions over their career, because they don't make a lot of money, but they've got all the benefits. I found out the other day, an E4 Marine makes $1936 a month on BAH. The government gives them $2,000 a month every month just to have a house. So if you have a working spouse, you can buy a house today, and you can keep that house, and you can move in PCS to another city, and I can help you navigate through that, and maybe find somebody to rent your house for you for free. Now, what does that mean? That whole space means, oh, you're not making money, Eric. Look who's watching. The supervisor, the officers, they are all watching who you're taking care of, and it's their troops. They care about that, and you become the professional. That's how you do it.
What would you say to the people listening who may be thinking, man, my numbers aren't quite where I want them to be. It's been a rough couple of years. I fear if I go all in on these, few groups, that I'm going to shut the door on these other possible opportunities. And now I'm even leaner because
Yeah.
I think
Go ahead and
that's a real fear,
and
especially
it
in
should.
service-based business when you're trying to be liked by all so you can get more business. So to go narrow and deep can be a little scary for some who are not hitting the numbers that they want to hit.
You guys know Jocko Willink, right?
Yeah, we love Jocko. I have actually had Jocko on the Mortgage Coach podcast.
Deborah, you scared? Good. That's what Jocko would say. That's what you need to do. You need to lean up. You need to figure out who you are. You need to figure out who you can help because you can't help everybody. That's what you need to do. You need to get focused on what it is that you can actually do. It's not all about looks. It's not all about brains. It's not all about the amount of drive you've got. It's about the kindness and the relationship you have with people that you can actually provide value for folks. That's it. I struggle in this industry, man, because we've seen it. We've seen it over and over and over. And Todd, you've heard me talk about it. It's frustrating to see people show up with a low barrier of entry and somehow scrape by and potentially may not bring a good name to the industry. Even those people, if you're listening right now, if you feel like you're not bringing enough value, you need to stop and contemplate how you can, because you are not going to be able to continue down this path with so many things against you without an authentic relationship with people.
Hey, hey Eric, I want to ask a couple questions in sequence. So, you mentioned that, hey, you were this guy, and when Todd briefed us, it's like when I met him, he looked like the typical realtor, and today he's got a few tattoos, he's dressing different, you've got a motorcycle in the background. Was it a month? Was there a moment? Or was it over the course of a year that you had this transformation? So first of all, what was the period of time in which you went from typical realtor chasing 6,000 people to the guy you are today? Was that a month, a year? What was the period of time in which you transformed?
To answer you bluntly, it was probably a span of a quarter.
So 3 months.
So let's just say 3 months, because I wasn't really keeping track of it. I just knew I had a mission.
Okay. And what happened? Did you change a belief that you have? Did you change a philosophy that you had? Was there an event in your life that drove this pivot? What was it that drove this transition?
What drove the transition were the people I was hanging around with. I watched them starting to accelerate. I'll give you that example of Scale Mastermind that Todd and I were with. Everybody that was a part of that was really accelerating in their business, and I felt like I was stagnant. In fact, the group dissolved without any type of real fanfare. It just kind of went away. And I watched from a distance for a while going, what am I doing differently? Why am I not one of them? Because I am one of them. I am absolutely the guy with the drive with the biggest gas tank in the room. Why the hell am I not getting the business or the people being attracted to what I'm doing? And I just explored that. And when I sat down over that period of 120 days, I just told myself, and this is a really important point. Great question, Dave. I'm glad you brought me to this. Is when you're in that phase of exploration, and Deborah, you brought it up a second ago, you have this fear, you have this thing that you have to get rid of, and that is your belief system has to change. And there might be a moment where you do turn somebody off and you have to learn that it's okay that they don't come to you or they sold their house. There's a sign in somebody else in their yard with somebody else's name on it. These are all opportunities for you to see it as a positive. What you're doing is you're starting to get narrow in your path while the rest of the world is just hoping and praying that their phone rings for any type of situation. I knew, Dave, there were a couple of transactions that I absolutely would never go through again because I was unable to filter the person before I got to be the helper, the agent for them. I am not an agent for them. I will never be an agent for them. In those moments when I thought, how do I filter before they get to me? These are the things that do it for me.
Got it. What was there? I call it, everyone has a personal code. I'm currently wearing a shirt right now. The first time I've heard the word keep going before, but Sean Herrera, who's a good friend, he's been on this mastermind. I've had him on the show for a long time. This is like one of his personal codes, for his family, for his business. kind of ties to Jocko's good. It's like, oh, you're afraid? Keep going. Oh, you just had a personal best? Keep going. Oh, you're discouraged? Keep going. Like he has this philosophy of just always keeping going. Do you have something like either a principle or a mantra or something that is part of your code? Obviously, Jocko Good is part of it because you always brought it. So that's a philosophy that you have. Is there something else that you feel that really fueled this transition of who you are today that you have? I would love to know.
Yeah. So spiritually, I'm aligned with the idea of kindness is essential, but you have to be kind to yourself, but you also have to know yourself. Stepping into that transition of that, let's just call it that quarter, being the strongest person possible for the people that you can actually help is encompasses a lot of information. So you're how what kind of professional do you show up as? Does it require you to be in a button-up shirt and white shirt and tie and all those things? Does your service actually matter what this looks like? Because I would argue it doesn't for me. I can show up in a t-shirt on that motorcycle right there, which I've shown houses in. It doesn't polarize people to where they don't see me as the professional. So belief system number one with kindness and spirituality behind that aligns with that portion. Then there's the strength of the physical side. I was 238 pounds at 5'9" when I was going through this. And I said, I need to be the strongest person I can possibly be in all facets. So I lost 65 pounds. I was not going to take that as a no. I was absolutely in. There was no way you were going to get me to not do that. And right now, I got down the 65 and I gained 10 back in muscle. So now my goal is to bulk up, be even stronger because I turned 50 in like 4 months. And I'm like, guys, this is an opportunity for me to show up and show what I've got. It drives me nuts to see somebody's potential just sitting there. I told you earlier, my son was being reclusive, and I knew his potential of being social. He has a decent sized battery. He can get out there and do things, and he just wasn't doing it. But now, look at him. He's got, he's got. Oh, it's going to sound so gloatful, but I don't mean it like this. He's got two cars because he wanted two cars. He wants one for 4x4ing and one for racing his BMW. That's what he wants. So he's doing it. And before his mindset was like, Dad, I can't do this. I can't afford it. Wait a second, back up. Give me 5 things you like. Kathy had asked me, what are some of the questions you're asking? Listen up, Kathy. 5 things that you like in your life. Things that you want to do, things you are doing, things that you just haven't done forever. Culinary cuisine was probably one of mine. I wanted to be Anthony Bourdain. There's all kinds of stuff inside of that. But can I go all in with those things and actually enjoy my life? Can I be the most amazing husband I can possibly be? Can I be the dad that's actually there for folks? And can I be the guy that doesn't worry about money all the time? Let me tell you, Europe for 6 weeks is not cheap. Todd knows.
Starting on a
These are
Disney
all,
cruise too.
oh yeah, I got to Europe on a Disney cruise. So there was the last opportunity with my 20-year-old to kind of go with the big hurrah before she goes and does her thing. She just graduated Aveda Salon, which is a trade, and I couldn't be happier to hear that because I did the college route and said it's worthless. That's me personally. For my position in life, it was not going to work. If I'm a doctor, different story. But for me, education is life. The ability to show up and be strong in all facets is what you need to ask.
I love that.
This.
So how are you coaching Josh? So Josh is going to have a baking. How's he going to integrate baking in? So Kathy's asking about that. So let's pretend she loves baking too, and you're coaching the two of them. How are they gonna start building this community? And because you used the word filter before, so I think ultimately my takeaway anytime someone does what they do is although you're going to repel some of those people, you're actually going to attract the other people so much harder to you than the people you lose, and that's why you've grown such great business out of 117 contacts.
That's 100% truth. How am I going to coach Josh? Well, he's a Green Beret Apache pilot, so he's got a little bit of steam in his engine, so he doesn't stop. But what we do with guys like Josh, take notes. What I'm going to do with him is sit down and literally give him so every 5 days, he's going to be doing a video series. He's going to have a channel on Instagram for baking. He's going to, by the way, if you want to follow me, I'm Ash to Ash Cigar Social and Short Rib Garage. Short Rib is my road name inside of the motorcycle club. I'll explain that later. So baking Josh or Green Beret Baking, or however he chooses to put that handle on it, he's attracting people that would not normally show up as a big burly guy wanting to bake, or the guy that wants to smoke meat or whatever. He's going to be able to present the authentic himself in that channel each and every day for those 5 days a week. He's also going to be participating in, we have HEB grocery stores here. The Central Market has culinary events. He's going to be a part of that. He doesn't know that, but that's what he's going to do. He's also going to show up with the ability of, and, here's the other thing. Hey, real estate agents, everybody knows you're an agent. Stop saying it. You're not a secret agent if you don't say it. Everybody knows what you do already. Go out there and be yourself. Show up for the things you like, and stop telling people that, oh, by the way, or here's my name tag. That crap's dead.
Unless it's short rib. You can have a name tag that says short rib.
I can be secretary short rib. Yeah. But that's a few ideas. No less than one post per day, having relating to some level of baking on Facebook. I do the thing where some of my stuff on Instagram pushes to Facebook. I only use 2 platforms, Instagram and Facebook. I never go on Facebook. Today I did a live video to promote this, but everything I do is inside Instagram. Everything. And people stay top of mind with me because I post so much in that space.
I'm waiting for
What's
Deborah
the
to
other
jump in.
account called? Short Red?
Okay,
Is that
Short
what you said?
Rib.
Oh.
Short Rib Garage. So I'll give you that example. Deborah, ready? This one right here is a lift for anybody that loves motorcycles and wants to socialize. They can ride up here and change their oil with me, use my tools, use my lift, have the ability to come and just hang out. And everybody in Aledo knows Short Rib Garage.
We met for lunch, but you didn't pick me up because you didn't want to have me tow my suitcase behind your motorcycle.
It was hot that day. Yeah. So, it doesn't ever feel like work anymore. It doesn't. I don't wake up in the morning and worry if my phone is going to ring. My phone hasn't rang one time since we've been on, and I'm okay with that. I don't work in the space anymore, Dave, of worrying about, how much am I going to make an influence for somebody to get on my website to hit my database so I can make that quick call to get them to show a house so I can give up 40% of my income because I paid for the lead. All of that is gone. I'll give you an example of success in my mind is going to Europe for 6 weeks and tripling what I earned compared to what I paid for the vacation.
While you were gone.
So by the way, that's a code, that's a philosophy, that's a belief that you could go on a vacation and you could actually give yourself a raise while you do it. Like you believe that, you see that. Who was it that asked the question? By the way, that's a question to ask yourself, Kathy. Do you think you could actually make more money going on a vacation? And Eric does. So he's got a real chance of actually pulling that off. Are there some other beliefs and philosophies that you have that are driving not just giving yourself a raise while you're on vacation, but the things that you do?
Ooh, that's general. I believe I'm really good at what I do for the very niche market that I control. I do know that there are certain personality types. I'm a big fan of Culture Index. Disc profile is great, but it's kind of high level for me. But Culture Index kind of gets into the weeds of the things that if you have a chance, if you know somebody with a Culture Index available to you that you can use and take the test, go do it. Go figure out what the things in life that you act on and the things that you naturally are, and figuring out those things help.
So finding out your genius zone, like
finding out your genius zone
that you're
right.
good at and that give you energy, and double down on those things.
You're writing a book right now, right?
Yeah.
What's the name of the book? Savage Code.
Savage Code.
Okay. So what is Savage Code?
Actually, I have picked a color of it. Let me show a little image real quick of what I think is.
So glad you asked. Let me show you.
I just happen to have it right here.
Just
look at this.
Yeah.
It's a book on a personal operating system to win in life and work. And so it's all about like how you can go about really defining who you are and what you believe, and then documenting it in a way that makes you a better self, and then sharing it. Like when I first documented the Savage Code, my youngest son was graduating from college, and I it started by I just wanted to write him a note that would have impact. And I wrote the note, and then I thought, he'll read it, he'll probably keep it. It'll be a good little father and son memory and moment, but it's not going to change his life. And I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to document my principles, my philosophies, and I'm going to say, the only advice I have for you is have a coat, and here's my coat, and live your coat, and here's my coat. So he would know me better, and then inspire him to take the time to create. It ended up being like a 20-page Google Doc, so it was pretty extensive. And anyways, I'm writing a book to inspire people to do that themselves, and to share the Savage Code. And I'm co-authoring it with my son. He's
Oh,
23 years old.
mic drop at the very end. That is amazing.
Isn't that cool?
That is so cool, man. I'm your biggest fan, man. I've got to get a signed copy of that, by the way.
Oh, done. Done.
I'm,
Yeah, no.
I'm so stoked.
It's Dave and Jack Savage. So
Oh,
this is not the final prototype. We gave some direction to our designer yesterday, so hopefully we're circling in on what the final book cover will be.
let me just say, Dave, like this is what I'm talking about. This right here, not scripted. I don't have any notes in front of me, no nothing, right? And I'm listening to what you're saying. And by the way, I could tell something was going on because the questions you're asking are on point. So I'm so stoked to be in this space together. And for you guys to know that, like you guys listening, please listen to what your inner thoughts are for the people you want to hang out with and go all in with those folks. Go deeper. You can unplug, you can get away from your phone, you can actually sit down with somebody and listen to them. Dave is a great example, and I can't wait for this book to come out. Oh my gosh. But there's opportunity for you right now, regardless of if you're $1 million earner or a $50,000 earner. There's opportunity for everybody to continue growing. And look, you don't get time back. We're all knocking on the door of death. I hate to be existential in that space, but give it all you got right now. How many lives can you change? How many people can you show up for? Can you be strong doing it? Guys, be there together. And that was the last little point I wanted to pull up before we head out is there's this weird relationship going on with lenders and realtors right now. And I don't like it. You guys need to be copacetic. You need to be in the business together to the level that you understand what I'm doing for the day, what my posts are about, what we're doing together to aim for the people that we're helping have to be in sync. And I want that's one thing that really I would love to see change is people to get a deeper relationship like that.
Dude, I think that's so important. That's really important. I want to real quick just get really tactical because there was something that you did a few years ago. I think it was in December, and I talk about it a lot. So I would love you to share your perspective on it. But you did hit a point where you went in and you had all these old leads that you had bought like in 2020 and 2021, back when you had bought leads. And then you picked up the phone. You did something that Deborah and I teach with exactly what to say, which is an opening fact question where you did an open, you stated the fact, and then you asked the question. If this was the script, at least as I remember, it was, hey, it's Eric Daniels with Rethink Home. That was the opening. The fact was you registered for my website 4 years ago or however long ago it was. And then your simple question to him, that was an easy to answer question, was, did you ever buy a home? And then you went on the first quarter of that next year and you did like 19 transactions as a result of, but I think it's just the fact that you were vulnerable. You were okay with the rejection of somebody who said, oh, yep, I bought a home. And you were like, oh my gosh, congratulations. Like you took the opposite approach. Everyone else would have been like, oh, thanks, click, and hung up the phone on them. But then you dug in with those folks. Can you just kind of walk through what you did and your mindset of how you did it and kind of what the results were?
Yeah, if I'm making a transition, Dave, in that 120 days we were talking about, that was really vulnerable and scary and all the things. And part of that exercise is how do I get in front of people to get failure? Where am I going to hear failure the most? That's what you're going to get. But if you change the little tiny, those little levers, not the giant ones that you pull that make the biggest difference in your business, that little lever for me in that space was, are there more people that would like to hang out right now? Are there more people that love what I'm doing that would like to be a part of that and be invited into my life? I don't know. Let's find out. And that's this flip. It's not, oh my God, are they going to say something are they going to hang up on me? Are they going to, sure they are. And then the other side of that is, are you a good listener? Can you stop and listen to somebody and actually hear what they're saying? And be the Maslow's hierarchy of needs has always been a steer for my business. Having people feel that they are heard matters. So when you stop with the scripting, listen to me, every brokerage in America is cringing right now. Come up with your own language that gets to the mission of what you're doing. What's the mission of what you're doing? Are you there for leads? Are you just there for the conversion ratio to show up on the next Wednesday meeting? Or are you there to actually find people to enter into your life? Big difference.
How important do you think this will be moving forward of just these small little live social communities that you're building in a world that's so starved for like human connection and intimacy?
I will say it's there's a strategy there that after the hindsight, right? Hindsight's 2020. Like going into this was just because I wanted it for me. I needed to feel like I was going to be myself. Because just for information, my parents were design engineers in Long Beach, where I grew up partial of my life. I I kind of fell into the things. Military is the only thing that I kind of did on my own. And then after that, I kind of fell into what was common in my life. So whenever I stopped that, I really needed to find community in that space. And I don't know. What
What,
was your question, Deborah? I'm
what,
sorry. I
real,
went
by
way
the
off.
way, real quick, what high school in Long Beach?
Gar High.
Oh, my wife went to Millikan. Just
Okay,
curious.
cool. Yeah. Yeah. I was in Cerritos where in Anaheim and Long Beach.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I was just talking about
Um,
the importance of community moving
yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
And
Just
IRL in real life.
yeah, the community aspect's huge. And hindsight 2020 being what it is, I now see that those little tiny pawns that you think are just sacrificial at the front of the chessboard are actually the things that cause you to win.
Look at that. Kathy and I are both class of 86. Nice.
There you
Oh,
go.
good.
Nice.
It's like the existential thing again.
Yeah, I think it's really an opportunity, right? And what I love seeing is you talked about our mastermind group, and it wasn't a huge group. There were 6 of us, and we had people spread out all over the country building different size businesses. And what I love is seeing that those other leaders have brought you in to be the person who talks to their teams about authenticity, about who you are, and you're helping their agents get lift by doing just what you're doing for Josh, what you did for yourself. I love the fact that you are so generous to come here and spend time with us and share your message, because I think, you know, Dave and I and Deborah have done, I think, a pretty good job of bringing people in to interview over the years in loan officers, but we just haven't regularly gotten this deep and this vulnerable.
Yeah, no, it's pretty damn cool. And there is nothing better in life than when you can win in business and life and have real congruency and authenticity, like radical authenticity. I was scanning your Instagram and you are like, you're just unapologetically you and you're doing that. And then you're raising a family that is becoming super authentic. And I do think in a world driven by AI, there are so many things that AI can do. I mean, to the point where it's like the majority of things AI can do. And maybe there's only 5 that are human, but the more authentic you can be in your humanity, that's how you future-proof yourself. I hope everybody that is listening to this, we're coming into a holiday weekend where I hope you're going to be spending time with family and friends and truly being your most authentic self. And I would just really encourage folks, like you heard from Eric, like this did not take him years. I'm sure there was frustration for a period of time, but then when he decided like it's game time, it's to quit faking it, to quit worrying about others, to quit living my life the way I think other people will perceive me and trying to please everybody. And he literally went from 6,000 to 100. And this is who I am. This is how I live. This is how I'm going to market myself. This is how I'm going to build community. And you can win, like literally. Like there's so many niches in ways that you can just be your authentic self. So I really hope anyone watching this on a podcast, a recording, that you use this. And Kathy, that would be one question. Well, a series of questions on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being I'm crushing it at being my best authentic self, just start asking you, are you a 5, you a 4, you a 3, are you a 1 or a 2? And then also a big takeaway, Eric, just listening to you, what you did to your personal health. I mean, losing that kind of weight, it sounds like you've really, just hearing your language, it's got to bulk up. Like you're an entrepreneur athlete. You're really, you're killing it, bro. You're an inspiration to me, and I'm sure to the thousands of people that are going to watch this, virtually. So love it, bro.
Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you for everything. Todd has mentioned it recently that, I'm providing services to other people for free. There is no play in that for me.
I didn't
I mean,
say for
yeah, I
free.
guess
I wanted you to charge some money for it.
Nah. This is one of those passion projects, man. Like, I mean, I'm here because I want to get a message that you don't have to look like the person standing next to you. And just to be really extremely truthful, you're a better person, you're a better professional, you serve people better when you're in this space because you don't get hemmed up and locked up on stupid stuff. Like I always picture a cinder block on my shoulder that I'm carrying around. I don't need to carry that thing. Like there's things in life that you just don't need to do. You know where your line is. And when you stand your firm line with who you are and how you love being who you are, people resonate with that. You'll make more money. Promise.
All right, Deborah, I can see you got a question that's ready to come out.
I'm putting in the chat that you need to check out Byrd Nutrition.
All right.
Ooh,
There we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
That's Jack Savage's new nutrition company, and Jack is a beast of a human, and his
Dude, you
definitely
got
his
to check it out.
definitely
He's
his
working on like
dad's.
how many abs? I thought there was only like 12. He has a lot more than 12. They're on the sides, they're on the top, they're on the bottom. Sorry, Dave.
Hey,
Might have
no,
zoomed in.
don't be sorry. I'm really proud of Jack. And by the way, guys, this is another. I'm super proud of my son. Check out Byrd Nutrition. And I really don't get credit. Maybe leading by example, I get some credit, but he's got this. He was going to get into real estate, and he actually got hired by a top team. And he came to me because he thought he was going to be bummed when he decided. He's like, Dad, I can do real estate. I know I can make a lot of money at it. I know I can be good at it. I know I can learn to love it. But he's an athlete. He goes, I really want to try to make a living as an athlete and helping athletes. And so I'm like, dude, get it. Like there was no hesitation. And then I don't know if it was a couple months ago, he just every day said it. He came up to himself, I'm going to do a post a day. And on Instagram, he's done a post every single day for, I don't know, look at Instagram. I don't know if it's 2 months, 3 months. And it's just practice. Like his product hasn't come to market yet, but he's just documenting his story. And that would be another thing I would push everybody to. I'm not saying everybody needs to commit to a post a day. That might
Deborah
be
is.
that might be
Yeah.
right for your business. That might be right for your personality. It's definitely a great strategy to win. And I know Deborah Byrd will say that, but I just want to push everybody like, who are you? What's your business model? What's your niche? What's your local market? And design something that wins. I was asked, I did a walk and talk with a good friend, Ron Stowers, this morning, and he asked me what my favorite interview was that I can remember recently. And it was Ken DeLeon, #1 realtor in America, Silicon Valley. There are so many bitchin' things about Ken. You know, he's overcome multiple tragedies, massive adversity. He still loves life. Like he clearly is a person that's always better, never bitter. And he's trained himself to be that guy. And then he's built a business model. It wouldn't work in every market, but in Silicon Valley, he figured out a value proposition, a market. And guys, he did 400 million in buy side transactions last year. He did $1 billion. Now, again, he's built an organization. I mean, he's not just your typical individual real estate, but he's #1 realtor debatably in America, and he's doing it his way. So you by the way, he's another deja vu. I'm talking to Eric, hearing what he's doing, how he's doing it, but another example of how you can win and you can do it your way. I'll put a link to that Ken DeLeon interview in chat. And Deborah, thank you for shining a light on Jack Savage.
You're welcome.
All right, so
Uh,
we got to go into wrap up mode. So ask your last question there, Deborah, and then we will let everyone give their closing thoughts.
well, I was thinking about the story with Jack and how he evolved and discovered that maybe real estate wasn't for him, and the fact that you were, I'm guessing, a little bit later in life when you discovered maybe the way you were doing real estate wasn't right for you. How do you give yourself permission to evolve and learn, but then unlearn and relearn? Because I think that's the biggest challenge when people are even creating their brand. They feel like it's like written in stone and you can't evolve from there. Because you may go all in and think you like something, and then you're like, ah, this really wasn't like a passion like I thought it was.
Yeah, you're going to do that, by the way. You're going to do things that you probably will regress on, and that's fine. That's part of your progress. It's your progress report. You've got to understand that, like, just because you try it doesn't mean it's going to be the end all be all. There are going to be certain things that like, I just happen to really like, if you get to know me, when I set a target, it's hard to get that target off, right? So I go all in with everything that I'm doing, and that's part of Dave, you're talking about traits. That's one of them. So yeah, you're gonna screw up. You question a lot of what you're doing, but please don't take yourself so daggum serious. Like, stop and think about the things that you actually like. You're gonna sit down. You're gonna do them. You're gonna invite people into your life. That's the secret code. Invite people in that you know are going to either resonate or know that they need time just like you did. And I will tell you, Deborah, one of the best things in the world is seeing somebody where you were get to where you are today because you brought them into your life.
What a great way to end it. It's a
Well, that's
great
it. So, all right. So before we end, I want to just throw out a couple of things, and then I'm going to have everyone give their closing thoughts. So stay tuned for that. Number one is if you are listening to this for the first time because you followed us, we would love you to follow whether you're watching this on YouTube or one of the podcast platforms. Number one, give it a like, give it a comment so that people actually come back and watch this episode. I think Eric deserves a 5-star review. And then I know you know at least one person who you think maybe could go deeper and maybe benefit from hearing this. And I would love you to share this episode with them. The bottom line is that, we're doing this every week to hopefully ignite some spark in you that's been there and you've been thinking about this. And, just the notes I've made for myself and the ideas that I have for things that I can do to change as a result of the last hour that we've had together are firing me up. So just know, I think there's an opportunity for you, not just for yourself, but to share this with others. And so let's sort of go around the horn.
I think just giving yourself permission, especially on this long weekend, to explore what are the things that you either haven't tried that you've always wanted to, and then putting it in a planner, because the second half of the year, what I love about it is there's so many opportunities to connect and create little micro moments, whether it's, with the Dallas Cowboys, or maybe it's a Harley gang that you want to start, or you have Thanksgiving, you could do a back to school drive. There's so many things you can do that just leverage those things coming from a place of contribution where you can invite other people who also are longing for that community as well. So my biggest takeaway was that you fell into a community and then you created multiple communities for others who may need one as well. So go find a community and then start one of your own.
Dave.
And super inspiring. I am definitely going to re-listen to this, rewatch it, and I hope the big takeaway for everyone is to elevate your personal authenticity. Something I work hard on. I'm going to work harder on it and put some thought into that. And grateful for you, Eric, and looking forward to doing more life and business with you.
Yeah, I think this was definitely a huge highlight for me, Eric. I really appreciate you sharing with our community. I'm really so connected and feel so responsible for who we bring in. I think today is going to go down as a special episode because I have no doubt that this impacted any of you who listened to this today. And I think, Deborah, your idea of finding a community and creating a community, that is a great mantra. And I want you guys all to be inspired that you can live a life like taking 6 weeks with your family and actually have a team that's going to rally around you and close more business while you're gone. I think that is a great inspiration for everyone on the business side. Eric.
Hey, wait, one more thing. I just had to say it because Deborah nailed it with community. Guys, the best marketers in 2026 and beyond, they're not marketers, they're community builders. Be part of a community, build a community. Big takeaway. Sorry.
My
Go ahead, Eric.
gosh. Well, I don't need to say anything. That is so well said, Dave. Oh my gosh, Deborah, you nailed it. So, all right, let's go out with a bang. You creating community for the things you love, just go do it. Cares if you fail? Who cares if no one shows up? Just means that you get to explore outside of your normal circles, where else to find more people that resonate with who you are instinctively. You are worth it. You are going to make that change for somebody in your life. Go do it. Have a passion project that you want to show up on a lender podcast and just go all in with complete strangers. And all kidding aside, what a better place this would be if we are all professionals in the authentic selves that we are. If we can show up and actually have a responsibility for the people that we serve and have emotional intelligence, I think we've got a whole new world that we could explore inside of real estate.
Love it. All right, everyone. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Deborah, Dave, all of you who watched live, everyone who's listening, watching the recording. You're all amazing. Have a great 4th and cannot wait till we see you in the upcoming episodes. Thanks, everyone. Have a terrific day.
Let's go USA.